Hello, and welcome to the Veterans Voice. My name is Joe Armstrong. I'm the president of Vietnam Veterans of America, Chapter 1044, based in Sanford. Today we have a very special guest with us, Mr. Dale Midgley. Good morning, Dale.
Thank you, Joe. Pleasure to be here.
Welcome to our show. Dale served in the United States Army, obtaining the rank of captain in the Medical Corps. I also know, Dale, that you're very involved in other organizations and endeavors. Could you tell us a little bit about some of them?
Well, right now we're working primarily with Habitat for Humanity. We're doing that veterans build in Kennebunkport.
Oh, yep.
And right now we're clearing the site down there, Joe, so that we can get it all prepped. So when they bring in the heavy equipment to do the excavation and put in the foundation and so forth, then we're going to open it up to any volunteering groups that would like to volunteer to participate in the Habitat build. And they'll be available to go in probably 3 times a week, and they're going to be scheduled in a groups of, if your group wanted to go in, you could schedule the day, and we have a coordinator who schedules the days so they can go in. But right now we're just waiting to get everything cleared from the town, then we'll be ready to start building and hopefully have it buttoned up and do the interior work before the winter sets in.
Wow, that's great. Do you have a family in mind? Or?
Well, we had what they call 12 interviews. They're not applications, they're interviews.
Okay.
12 people who sent information in that they would like to be considered for the Veterans Build, and they have what is called a screening committee.
Okay.
They meet with these people, they go over their finances, they go over to make sure that they're capable to want to afford it, but also they've received an honorable discharge, and they're the type of veteran that they want to get into that particular
So there are strict guidelines.
Oh, there's very strict guidelines, and it's usually for low income, and they will structure the payment for the ability of that individual to pay, Joe.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Is that the only project Habitat for Humanity has in the area?
This is the first veterans build they've done in the state of Maine.
Wow, that's awesome.
And President number 41, George G. H. Bush, is the honorary chairperson.
That's awesome.
And so he's the one who has said, I'll be the honorary chairperson. And when we have the groundbreaking, we want to get him down there with a shovel. He's not going to be digging the hole.
So he's not down there with a hammer and nails?
No, but he'll be there to open up the ground so that we can get the thing started. But it's just been so exciting to have him involved. And he sent out 600 letters around the country letting people know. And we've had quite a few people willing to donate their time, and a lot of them are donating money. But it's not necessary to donate the money. What we really need is people to be willing to assist in the building of this project.
Labor.
You got it.
Okay. What about materials?
We have a number of people who are going to donate material, but they do have a budget to buy materials for this. And it's a very interesting thing the way it works, because they build this house. They don't charge anything for interest on the mortgage. Then they take those payments, and then they put it into a bank account to do the next house. The town of Kennebunk is in the process of donating another piece of land, but that hasn't been finalized yet.
Wow.
So we'd have one in Kennebunkport and one in Kennebunk.
That's awesome.
The biggest problem is getting the land because it's so expensive to buy it.
Right, understood.
That's one of the projects that we're involved in. Also, few other projects we get involved in.
Well, I know you're a very busy man.
It seems like it's been very busy lately.
I don't know how you find the time in the day.
Well, it's like you, Joe. You just do what you have to do because there's so many people out there in need.
Well, I know you're the Veteran Service Officer for American Legion Post 19 in Sanford, and I understand that you just started a new program. Very exciting. Could you tell us about it?
Well, it came about by accident, Joe. I mean,
No pun intended.
It came about by accident, and because we sent out a survey to all of our 300 plus 80 members plus, asking what they were looking for in terms of services from the Legion. Got a whole bunch of responses back. And then inside also, some people said, do you accept donations? And gee, we hadn't thought about that. And then I followed up with the calls, like, what do you want to donate? And one guy says, well, I have this wheelchair, battery-powered wheelchair in my garage. It's just sitting there. And we said, I wonder if anybody needs a battery-powered wheelchair. And I just happened to run into Mr. K, George Canovas from DAV, and he said, Dale, do you have anybody who has a wheelchair?
Wow.
A battery-powered wheelchair? I says, well, yeah, we just had one donated. He said, I've got a veteran who's paralyzed from the waist down and can't get a chair.
Wow.
And so I said, well, my neighbor fixes them. So he came over, made sure it was running. We donated it to the fellow the next day.
Wow.
And so he came over, picked it up, and now that veteran has a wheelchair.
That's awesome. How long have you been doing this?
We've been doing it only since July, and we've given out 4 of them.
Wow.
What we do is we get them, And we take a look at them to see if we can repair them. And if we can repair them, we put them back into service. And my neighbor happens to be an electrician.
Okay.
He comes over, makes sure the batteries are working and it's mechanically working. And what he does is he puts them together. And the second one went out to the veterans, a American Legion veteran's son who was suffering a terrible debilitating disease and starting to lose, use of his legs. And he got the second one. The third one went to the DAV, and it was a hit-and-run victim, a woman with a hit-and-run victim. And she got the wheelchair. Now we have one other one we're working on, putting that back together. And we just got a call from someone in New Hampshire who wants to donate another one to us. Wow. It's the type of program I think that any organization can do. I mean, we didn't do this, to service Maine. We just did it to take care of our veterans. But any organization like the VFW here or an American Legion in Biddeford could say, gee, is there anyone out there who has a wheelchair?
Yep.
Donate it to them, put it back together, and donate it to one of the veterans in this area.
That's awesome. My next question was, how has the response been? But it sounds like it's been phenomenal.
Well, what it is, people just ask you, because we haven't advertised it, but through word of mouth, and we do a little TV show over in Sanford, and we mentioned it, and I write a little column for the Sanford News, so I mentioned it, and all of a sudden people are saying, gee, I have a friend who needs one, and we're primarily servicing veterans and families, but we don't restrict it to that.
Okay, that was my next question, if it's only open to veterans and veterans families?
It is only open to veterans, but it could be an extended family of a veteran. There's no charge. We don't charge them a dime for this. We just put it back together and let them use it as long as they need. And we also have a good collection of wheelchairs. Like oftentimes we get a request for someone, gee, do you have a wheelchair, as opposed to them renting it? Do you have a wheelchair we could use? One of them called up and their mother was going on a trip with them to Nova Scotia, and they were trying to find a wheelchair. They said, well, we've got one of these collapsible ones in the Legion. Come on over, just sign it out and bring it back when you're done.
Awesome. You must be reading my mind, because my next question was, is there a cost involved?
No cost whatsoever, Joe. Mainly because, one, all the veterans organizations over there are willing to, if it's one of their members, to pay, because you're just the batteries that need to be replaced. And we're trying to make sure that everything is in working order, because we don't want to inconvenience the veteran or any member of his family.
Okay. If a veteran or veteran's family is in need, how do they go about applying?
All they have to do is give us a call at the American Legion. They can give us a call, or they can call me. I'm the service officer at American Legion.
Right.
And if you want me to mention the number.
Yes, please. If you would.
My cell phone number is, if I can remember it, 590-3532. That's my cell phone, and if someone has need and we happen to have one available, we'll probably ask a few questions, what's happened to the individual, and if we can provide one, we provide one.
Okay. Is there a formal application?
No.
Or, no, everything's informal?
Everything's informal because there's no cost.
Okay.
People donate them to us, and then we just get them back into service and give them out to the veterans or their family members.
Is this a loan, or do they get to keep the wheelchair?
They can keep it as long as they need it. Like the first one I mentioned, he will probably have that for quite a while because he was not eligible to get one from the VA.
Well, I was going to touch on that a little later. If somebody has a wheelchair to donate, how do they get in touch with you?
All they have to do is give me a call.
Okay.
All right, and again, that's the number, 590-3532. We check to make sure it's in good condition, because we certainly don't want to give out something that's not working or we can't repair it.
Right.
So my neighbor will check it out to make sure it's mechanically and battery is sufficient to work. And if that's, we put it back in service. If it's not, then we don't want to spend lots and lots of money. And we don't have any money to buy these, because we've had a couple of people call up, well, I'll sell you this scooter for X number of dollars. And we appreciate them doing that. I say, send me the information. We'll let people know it's available, and they can contact you, and you can get the money. But we don't have anything in our budget to go buy these things.
Speaking of budgets, excuse me, I know it costs not a lot of money, but it costs money for the batteries and the upkeep. If somebody wanted to make a donation, do they make it out to the American Legion Post 19? Do they make it out to you? Or?
No. They would make it out to the American Legion Post 19.
Okay.
And just specify wheelchairs for vets.
Wheelchairs
it
for
goes
vets.
into a special account, and that way, they can get credit for it. And that way, we'd use those money primarily to to replace the batteries. That's
Okay.
what we do. Mostly it's the battery problem
So
with
that's your
these
biggest
wheelchairs.
cost is battery?
Yeah, they run about $125 a piece. I always ask for the veterans discount, and
Oh.
been reasonably successful in getting the veterans discount, Joe.
That's awesome. If you know anybody or any company that has batteries for wheelchairs and would like to do a donation, please have them contact Dale at the American Legion Post 19 in Sanford. Very, very important cause. Um, why is this program so important? Doesn't the VA give wheelchairs?
Well, to some it does, Joe, and to some it doesn't. I mean, everybody assumes that every veteran gets health care.
Right.
Don't we wish that that was in fact
Don't we?
true?
Don't we? Yes, we do.
There are, a lot of times they will have health care. I know you as a service officer, me as a service officer, we always make an application for any veteran,
Right.
and it's amazing how many get denied. They make too much money. And to me, I think that's a little bit the wrong way, because the people who could do the copay, who, quote, make that, and then they're not talking a lot of money. We're looking at some places in this state, $42,000. They consider that too much money.
Yep.
But these are the people who could make a copay. And a lot of veterans who got into the system early got in, and then they said, no, we're not taking any more priority 7 and 8. Those are the people who didn't have any injuries,
Right.
but had served their country honorably. And as far as I'm concerned, it's not an entitlement. They earned it.
Exactly. I tell my veterans that all the time.
They've earned health care,
Exactly.
because when you look back at what President Lincoln said back in 1864 in his second inaugural address, to take care of those who have borne the battle, his widow and his orphan, that's the motto of the VA. It doesn't say, if you make too much money, you can't get health care.
Well, I think unfortunately, the way the times are changing, everything has become down to the almighty dollar, and they're forgetting their ethos, if you will. It's too bad.
And the people who oftentimes need it are the ones who get a little older, as you and I both know. Things happen. I know, but things happen. As you get older, what didn't bother you when you were younger starts to bother you. And what happens is these people apply for health care, they get denied, and they don't have anything else to fall back on. Or they have these health care premiums that cost them an arm and a leg. To me, any veteran who has served honorably should automatically get health care. And if they can have a financial audit and they find they can do a copay, have them pay a copay. Case solved.
I couldn't agree with you more on that. I'm getting a little off.
No problem.
subject
I'm
here,
sorry,
but
Joe.
if somebody's given a wheelchair and now the VA decides, oh, now they qualify for a wheelchair, is that going to prevent them from getting the wheelchair from the VA? The fact that they already have one?
No, because what we do, because we just donate for use. Like the one veteran who expects to get one, the veteran's son, within 3 or 4 months, we said, use it till yours comes in.
Okay.
And he said, fine, because otherwise he'd be waiting 3 or 4 months to get a wheelchair. And we said, use it. When you're through with it, bring it back. We'll make sure it gets to someone else.
Now, this is kind of, I don't know if it's a dumb question or not, but how do you know that the person needs the wheelchair without medical proof? Do you know what I'm saying?
We interview.
Okay.
Like with the DAV, it was not a question. We knew exactly, because we knew who it was and where it was going.
Yep.
With the American Legion member whose son, we knew that he had been debilitated and had an injury, had a sickness that was going through. And the person who was a hit and run victim may have lost a portion of her leg or so forth. But we figure these are the type of people, when we talk to the person who says, gee, I need someone who needs a wheelchair, we just say, tell us a little bit about it.
Yep.
And we have no problem in letting them use it. And if they get another wheelchair, they just bring it back.
Are you limited to wheelchairs? Do you have canes,
We
crutches?
have walkers we
Okay.
use. We have crutches, but we don't take any of the personal items like, the portable toilets and so
Right.
forth. We do take the battery-powered wheelchairs. We will take the manual wheelchairs, because one of the ones we just gave away was a combination,
Oh,
manual and battery. So if a
I've never
person
seen
wanted to
that.
be wheeled around, they just disengage the sprockets for the battery, and they can push it.
wow, I've never seen one like that.
Well, we hadn't seen one either, and
Wow.
my neighbor's saying, "What's these things?" And then we discovered it could be manual or electronic.
Well, is there anything else going on that you would like to let our audience know about?
Well, I think one of the things that's going on is that a lot of veterans out there have a tendency, as you know, Joe, not to ask for help.
Exactly.
And it's really, to me, that they really should. If they need something, it's amazing the resources that are out there that people can get assistance. I know that you were going to be attending the seminar we did at the Legion on the 17th on
Yes.
grants and loans.
Yes.
Well, this wasn't just a VA program. This was a U.S. Department of Agriculture program. And I don't know how much time you want me to talk about it.
Yep, go
I'm
ahead.
glad
No,
to mention
please go
it.
ahead.
And the U.S. Department of Agriculture has specific programs for those who are over 62, may be disabled or low income. And one of those is called a Section 504.
Okay.
And it's a grant program that if they fall into one of those categories, they make an application, and it can be for repairs on their roof, on their heating system, windows, doors, whatever, to get that house, you know, back up to safety and livable conditions.
Okay.
And you can get up to $7,500 as a grant.
Wow, that's awesome.
And that'll take care of most heating systems or fix somebody's roof and so forth. And I've wrote a number of those, and they're one, it's just time consuming to write them. And I have no problem assisting people in doing it, and that's what we presented at the seminar on the 17th. But also, agencies like York County Community Action does the same thing. Because Martha Bresnahan made the presentation to us, and she's with York County Community Action in Sanford.
Okay.
And she talked about the same programs with USDA 504, and one's a loan and one's a grant. As I mentioned earlier, how do people find out about it? And when we talk to the USDA, they can't advertise the program, so agencies have to find people
So it's a catch
who would
22.
like to, you know, apply for this. And the thing is, it's just to apply. And if you're eligible for the grant, fine. If you find they make a little too much money, you could be eligible for a 1% loan,
Okay.
up to $20,000 spaced over approximately 15, 20 years based upon your ability to repay, to do the same thing.
Okay.
But these are the things that are available, and unless we let people know, they go unused.
Well, what are the qualifications again?
Over 62,
Over 62,
disabled,
disabled,
or low income.
low income.
And the house needs some work, needs some repairs, whether it's heating system, whether it needs a new roof, or needs windows and doors. Those fall into the categories, but it's limited to $7,500.
And strictly the house, it's not like the driveway or,
It's the house primarily. Any
itself.
safety or item or any condition that needs to be repaired.
are they locked into a specific contractor or can
No, they must
their
get
own?
3 bids.
Okay,
So as they fill out the application, and the USDA will go interview them, they'll take a look at the house.
okay,
And they require 3 bids. One, to make sure that you have fair bidding out there. And then they will, one, look at the bids, and then the USDA will select someone, and they do the payment. The money doesn't go to the homeowner. It stays with USDA, and they pay the contractor.
Okay, I thought they got a check for X number of
Oh, no,
dollars. And I'm thinking that's like Pandora.
No, it's a
Now,
safe,
you know-
it's the checks and balances where the
Okay.
USDA makes sure that the repairs are done, but they want the 3 bids to make sure that, that you're getting a fair price.
Okay, and how does this affect the IRS now? Is that
Grant.
considered income or
Nope, not income, it's a grant.
it's a grant? So a grant is non-taxable.
Untaxable, just a grant.
Awesome. Well, if you fall in the categories that Dale just described, please get in touch with Dale or what was it, York County?
York County Community Action, because I think it covers this area.
Okay,
And they have all the information on these, what they call grants that are available for home repair, winterization, things of that nature.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Anything else that you'd like to talk
No,
about?
I think the other thing, Joe, is just like, with you and the service that you do for your veterans, and that they really need, if they're a veteran, to get involved with an organization.
Oh, I agree.
I think they should make application, become a member, whether it's the Vietnam Veterans of America, American Legion, DAV, VFW, AMVETS. They should, and go down, talk to these people. It's
Exactly.
amazing the benefits they can get, but also it's the communication that's vital.
Oh, I
Like your
agree.
show that you're doing here is letting people know that there are these services available. And how do they find out about them? They tune into your program, and all of a sudden they discover, gee, I could be eligible for that.
Exactly, exactly. I like to have a nickel for every time a veteran has said to me, I'm fed up with the VA, they did me nothing good. But that was back then. Things have changed so much, as you know. I mean, it's not become easier, but there's a lot more out there available.
Yeah.
Give it a second chance.
Yeah, one of the things I think that I just took advantage of, and I know you're familiar with, the VA dental insurance program.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah.
I enrolled in that in July,
Mm-hmm.
and I took the Delta Dental and the comprehensive for $26 a month.
26 a month.
26
Wow.
a month.
Wow.
But if you apply in 1 month, like July, you're not eligible till August.
Okay.
And so I went as, well, I'll see how it works. Went down, had my teeth cleaned.
Mm-hmm.
$176 to do Bing, Bing, and Bing.
Mhm.
They paid it all.
Wow.
And I think what veterans who are in the healthcare, all they have to be is in the healthcare system,
Okay.
and they can enroll.
So they need to register with like SACO,
They
Togas.
Well, they would go onto the website.
Mhm.
You know, just go
My
on
Healthy
to
Vet.
the va.gov,
Oh, okay.
type in dental,
Dental.
and all of a sudden pops up VA, what they call the VA dental insurance program, VA DIP, and you get MetLife or you get Delta Dental. And you just
Wow.
look at the coverage.
And how long has this been going on?
It started in January.
I feel guilty. I should know this. But
It just started in January, Joe. And I found out about it like in March, and I said, this is an interesting program. I got to find out more about this.
Oh, it
And
sounds
so
like-
I enrolled, and I've been spreading the word on it, and people who have enrolled have said, this is good, because most people don't have dental coverage. And they'll
No, unfortunately.
postpone doing the dental,
Yep.
and then they get the other illnesses that are associated with having dental problems.
periodontal disease
Got
and
it.
stuff like that. Yeah. It's a fantastic program, and I think I see another show coming up in the future on that.
Well, I
With
think
you and I talking about it.
Yeah, I think a lot of veterans should just take a look at it, because I've been delighted. I just had to have a couple of teeth removed because they had broken,
Yeah,
and I was postponing that because I knew the cost of this.
exactly.
And I said, boy, I don't know if I can afford to have these things yanked out.
Mm-hmm.
And so you postpone and you postpone. But then when I got the dental coverage, I said, well, it's time to have these rascals out.
You're a braver man than I am. You know. Anything else that you can think of?
Well, I think the other thing is, Joe, is that besides the programs that we do for the veterans, I mean, you do a lot of programs in recognizing Korean War veterans,
Yes.
Vietnam veterans, and so forth, and that's so important.
It is.
Because one, I think what's missing sometimes is people don't understand the sacrifices that these people have made.
Exactly.
And the recognition programs that you do in your organization are vital. And you do an absolutely phenomenal job
Oh, thank you.
on assisting people with claims for Agent Orange. As you know, my best buddy is in the VA hospital in Bedford.
Yes.
And he's been there now for 3.5 years.
Has it been that long?
That long now.
Oh my God.
Bill's been in there for 3.5 years. I'm going down to see him again this Sunday because I try and get down to see him every 3 or 4 weeks just to make sure he's okay.
Yep.
But he was on the DMZ
Yep.
and absolutely covered with Agent Orange,
Yep.
and was an arson investigator and an attorney, and a very good attorney,
Very smart man.
very smart man.
Yes.
Because you met Bill,
Yes, I did.
very sharp.
I had the honor. Yes.
And now he has dialysis 3 times a week with 10% kidney function. He's clear. He gets 100% disability,
Yep.
but he doesn't really have a life anymore.
Exactly.
And he's in that hospital. And I don't think people realize that, if it wasn't for people like you, they probably never would have known.
No, thank you.
about
You're
the-
too kind.
No, they
You're too
never would
kind.
have known about Agent Orange and the effects of Agent Orange and what they can do to get compensation and get coverage, health coverage to take care of the illnesses that they have.
And we were talking prior to the show. We're more or less shifting gears now. Now we're looking at the children and grandchildren and grandchildren. We don't know how far down the DNA
Right.
line it's going to go. We're trying to educate the people about that. And like you said, a lot of veterans, you mention that to them and they just look at you like you got 2 heads.
Right.
They got to stop and realize that what they were exposed to. And everybody, I don't care what anyone says, everybody that served 1 minute in Vietnam was exposed to Agent Orange in one form or another.
Yep.
And what I feel bad for is our Blue Water Navy brothers and sisters that they're on the ships offshore. The government seems to think that when Agent Orange was sprayed, it was heavy and just came straight down on the ground. Well, that's not true. You know that.
Yep.
It dissipated in the air. It drifted out to sea. The containers that the ships were carrying, I mean, it just goes on and on and on. So we're really having a struggle getting people educated. But like people with you and your organizations and our organization, we're going to do it, one veteran at a time.
It's just being persistent and not giving up. And I
Exactly.
know you don't give up and I don't give up.
Well, there's
They
times
may
I'd
say
like
no
to.
a couple of times, but we'll just keep going back until we get a yes.
Exactly, exactly. Well, thank you, Dale, for coming today. And thank you for watching The Veteran's Voice. On our next show, we'll be talking to Miss Lisa Phillips. Lisa is the president of an organization named WWRM, the World War II Families for the Return of the Missing. So until next time, my name is Joe Armstrong. Keep up the good fight, and thank you.
Thank you.